Hi, welcome back. I've been watching YouTube videos for years and I finally decided, hey, I think I can do that and at the same time answer the number one question in my house every day. Dad, what's for dinner? Okay, everybody. Well, the secret for dinner tonight is that I'm actually starting the night before. We're going to do a spatchcock chicken on roasted red potatoes. And one of the things that I like to do is dry brine my chicken the night before. So that's a process of putting salt on the outside of it and then setting it in the refrigerator overnight. The salt kind of dries or pulls the water out of the skin, and then they kind of mix together and then get incorporated back into the chicken. So it gets your salt penetrating into the bird itself and gives you a nice crispy skin when you pull it out of the oven. Okay, so spatchcocking is the process of actually removing the spine from the chicken and then laying it out flat. And what this does is it turns this chicken from being this football-shaped thing that doesn't cook evenly, which is why your breasts sometimes get dried out, your thighs aren't done. When you spatchcock it, lay it out flat, everything's kind of same size, same shape, it's all on the same level and thickness, so it can all cook at the same time and get that chicken exactly where you want it, and ensure a delicious meal. So give me just a second and we'll get into getting the spine out of the chicken. Now, this is the part that some people, if you're squeamish, you may not like. But what we got to do, turn our chicken over. This is the spine of the chicken here. And I'm just going to take my poultry shears. You want to have a good sturdy set of kitchen scissors or poultry shears to do this with. I'm going to cut up the spine on one side and then back down on the other. We'll take that out and then we'll move into actually getting the bird spread out. So if you're squeamish, you might want to look away for just a second. Okay, so there's one side. Then I'm just going to find this on the other. And we'll just travel right down the spine on the other. Okay, and there's this part is done. So I'm going to discard the spine and then we'll move into the next step. Now that we have the spine out of the bird, we can kind of come in here and address some of the extra fat and stuff that's on the inside. So I'm going to just take some of these extra fatty pieces out here. Okay. All right. And then what you want to do is you want to just use your knife, press down a little bit on this breastbone just to cut it. Flip your chicken back over and, well, try like heck to resuscitate him. All right, and there you go. That's your spatchcock chicken. Now all we have to do is get it ready to go in the fridge for the night. Now that our chicken's been flattened out, we can move on to the next step, which is preparing for the dry brine. So I'm going to take my salt out of my normal container. I'm going to just put it into another one. I don't want to cross-contaminate anything, so I get this salt in the separate container. The other thing I want to point out here is that this is not just table salt. This is kosher salt. In this particular case, this is Morton's. It's a little, the crystals are a little bigger. Most of the time when you see me cooking, I'm using a kosher salt, which is diamond, which is finer. But these salts are much different than table salt. They're, if it makes sense, less salty. When you see me apply this, it may look like a lot, but just remember, it's not like salt from your countertops. So I'm going to start out, I'm going to hit the backside here. And I'm going to make sure I get underneath these legs. Get up here. Okay, now I'm going to flip it back over, and this is why you separate a portion of your salt from your main container. You see I'm touching the chicken and going back and grabbing salt, and you don't want to do that. And then just use that salt for other things. You'll end up contaminating it and get people sick. Now we'll just come up here, do the top of the chicken, Make sure you get under these wings. Get along the thighs here. Get under this guy. Whew, he says that tickles. Okay, and that's kind of all there is to it. There it is. We're done. We're ready to dry brine. This is going to go in the refrigerator overnight. And tomorrow afternoon, when we're ready to start getting dinner ready, I'll pull it out and you'll see the difference it makes. See you tomorrow. Welcome back, everybody. It's the next day. I just pulled our chicken out of the fridge after dry brining it for about 24 hours. And as you can see, the skin is dried up incredibly well. Big difference from where it was last night. So the rest of this is going to happen really quickly. We're going to start out, we're going to make a compound butter. So I've got a stick of butter. I'm going to take the zest of a lemon, and then we've got some parsley, some chopped up thyme, and some cloves of garlic. We'll mix this all in a bowl with some olive oil, and that'll be our compound butter. We'll slather that all over the chicken here, and then we'll do our roasted potatoes. So I just have about 1.5 pounds of red potatoes that I have just chopped up. We'll get these out of the water. We'll give them a little olive oil, a little salt, pepper, and some of our herbs here. We'll put them around the edges of our cast iron pan, set the chicken in the middle, pop it in the oven at 425 for 40 to 50 minutes. We'll pull that out. We'll get the chicken on a cutting board, tent it, and let it rest about 15 minutes. While that's resting, we're going to shove the potatoes back in the oven and let them crisp up even more. And after that, it's dinner time. So we'll come back in just a minute and we'll get working on the compound butter. So let's get started on the compound butter here. I'm going to start off by taking 1 stick of butter. I've had this setting out on the counter during the day just to soften up. So that's ready to go. We're going to put a good amount of our chopped up thyme. I'm going to hold a little back to put in with the potatoes. That should be good there. Some parsley. We're going to do our cloves of garlic. And like I said, I've got 4 of them. Okay, a little lemon zest. This is a zester. This is great for getting the zest off lemons, limes, oranges. Also really good if you want to fine grate like a hard Parmesan cheese, things like that. But just take your lemon, go around the outside. You don't want to go very hard, and you want to try and get just the yellow skin and leave as much of the pulp, the white, on the lemon as you can, because that can get very bitter. So I just go around the outside of this. And this lemon zest will add a really bright flavor to our compound butter. And that's going to get, of course, all over the chicken as well as the potatoes as they roast. So be really good. I think that's good. And there can always be a lot left on the bottom of this thing, so just scrape it off. I'm going to give it a little olive oil here. About a tablespoon. A little salt. Now, I don't need that much salt because remember, we dry brined our chicken. It was covered in salt, so a lot of that is penetrated from the outside into the inside. So just a little bit when you're doing the butter. And some pepper. And now I'm just going to get this all mashed up and incorporated into a butter that will slather all over the outside of our chicken. You can also kind of throw this in a food processor to make the job a little easier. In that case, you don't even really have to chop up your herbs or your garlic. Just throw everything in a food processor and pulse away at it. You'll get to the same spot. Of course, you'll still have to zest the lemon, but that's no big deal. All right. So that's that. That's our garlic butter. or our compound butter, I mean. So we're just gonna bring our guy back over here. And again, just kind of go to work with our hands here. Just slather the outside of this. And I've also got the oven preheating now up to that 425 degrees for roasting. Okay, and the other thing I'll do is just kind of pull the skin off the chicken breast here. Just kind of slide your finger underneath it. You don't want to, try not to tear it. You just want to kind of separate it from the meat. And then take a little bit of your butter and get it all up in that hole. And then do the same on the other side. And this will really just put all that herb flavor and butter down into your meat. I can flip this guy over. Give the bottom side here some attention as well. Okay, flip them back over. All right, and our bird's ready to go. I'm gonna take just a second, get my hands cleaned up, and then we'll come back and get working on the potatoes. So let's get busy here on our roasted potatoes. I'm gonna start out by putting about a teaspoon of olive oil in with the potatoes. And again, like I said, I'm gonna repurpose some of the seasonings left over from our chicken. So there's some thyme, there's some parsley. Now here you can go a little heavier on the salt. So a pinch of salt and pepper. And then just mix these all up. Get the seasonings and the oil on all the potatoes. Oh, get back in there. All right. Those look good. Let's get ready for the final step here. Oh. All right, this is a this is a 15-inch Lodge cast iron. This will be just the right size to fit our chicken and all the potatoes around it. So I'm gonna start with getting our star of the show in here and situated. I'm gonna tuck, or try to at least, tuck the wings down and around so they don't get terribly burnt. Sometimes that's easier said than done. Okay, and then just kind of put our potatoes in just all around this chicken. Can remember all that butter and herbs and things will melt off the bird, and it will also flavor these potatoes. So okay, that looks good. Oh. Okay, and I'm gonna prop that up a little bit. We're around here. Boom. That's it. Now we're gonna get this in the oven, like I said, at 425, about 40 to 50 minutes, and I'll bring you back when we pull it out. All right, we just pulled our chicken out of the oven Was in there a total of about 50 minutes. Temped it, and everything's looking good. 165 in the breast, about 180 in the thighs, so that's exactly where we want it. Now the next thing is to get it out of here and onto our cutting board. I'm going to get that tented and let it rest for 15 minutes. While that chicken's resting, we're going to put our potatoes back in. We'll stir these all around, put the dish back in the oven so it can continue to brown those potatoes. And then we'll bring you back when we're all set and ready to go. Okay, we've rested for about 15 minutes. We've got our potatoes out of the oven. They look absolutely incredible. Let's pull the hood on the bird here. And that's great too. Now, the only other thing I want to do before calling everybody is I want to break this chicken down a little bit. Pretty simple process. We'll start off by removing the thighs and drumsticks. Then we can separate those as well. Okay, so there we have a thigh and a drumstick. Our little chicken wing here. We'll go over and grab the other thigh, and man, we did a good job with this. It is just absolutely falling apart all on its own. Okay. 2 drumsticks, 2 thighs. There's our other wing. And now for the breasts, just kind of go down the center of the chicken. Then I just kind of feel where the bones are in there. Okay, there's one chicken breast. Okay, get that keel bone out of there. There's the other one. All right, and there you have it. Spatchcock chicken breast, or spatchcock whole chicken, roasted potatoes. And that's the answer to, Dad, what's for dinner? Thanks a lot for joining. We'll see you on the next one.